a new me.
Smells like a new studio.
And new guests as well.
Wow. The first guest on the third degree. So tell us, who are you?
Hi, well, my name's Andy, and it's great to be here in this place I've never been before. This studio is breathtaking.
Wow, we'll see about breathtaking later on.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm Andy, and I am the Baptist minister here in Johnny.
Fantastic. Andy, tell us a lot about your job and what made you want to do it.
Okay, I didn't. I was sitting in church, looking at my own minister at Margate, going, I do not want to do your job. I thought, no, I was finishing off my degree in politics in Portsmouth, and I sat there going, no, I have no wish to do what you are doing. As you're doing preaching. As you know, it's like Sunday evening, you're not really listening to the preacher, and you go, no, I don't do that. But yet, a few weeks later, after I finished my degree, and I was chatting to some friends, and a girl, Anne Miller, her name was, said to me, so, have you ever thought about Bible college? And it was that trigger question, because they're like, why don't I go? I'd done exams all my life, and I thought, at last, I finished no more exams, bliss. And suddenly this girl threw this question into my lap, and it's that moment from going, actually, he sort of began going, is God calling me into ministry, whatever that meant? And I'd see good friends who are ministers or vicars, and going, what is it that they do? But yeah, that just began with that question. And so like when I went and told my mum, I think of becoming a minister, because I got a degree in politics. She thought, do you mean like in politics? No, mum, not a political, not a cabinet minister, but a rev minister. But she was very happy about that, Mum's Church of England, so she was very cool with that. But yeah. That's why I do what I do. For I make it an innocent question, a curious question, and because when I had been the president of the Christian Union, and I vowed never to go into church leadership because I hated it. Yeah, I hated it with a vengeance because I lost my identity. I was called. Some friends called me Mr. P, and it was cool. It was great. It was done with great affection, but I found it really dehumanising.
Where did they get Mr. P from?
President. Mr. P, and it was unaffectionately, but I lost my identity. I was no longer Andy. I was Mr. P, and I thought I hate that. I want my name. So, which is ironic because I used to go around with hoodies and all this with the Rev on the back, and I've now happily swapped one name, one title for another from Mr. P, but that's my choosing rather than someone else's. But
absolutely.
So can you tell us? You are now a Reverend Minister, like you said. Could you tell us actually what it is in the job that you do?
Oh, lots of things. So I think what I do, so my schedule for each day begins with prayer. So I'm a person. So part and parcel of my identity as a Rev is someone who's rooted in prayer. So I give prayer and reading scripture and reading books to help me understand my role and scripture, the Bible, and understanding all that I want to sort of share with people. That for me is the core of what I do is prayer, but also it's people. And I love bumping around the people, whether it's in church, whether it's outside of church, whether it's in school, in this community. I just love being around people, but I hate paper. I hate paperwork, so 3 Ps. I love prayer and people, but I don't do much with paperwork. It is my big struggle. I organise myself, but beyond that, it's
fair enough.
I rely upon other people to help organise church because so when someone once said to me about running a church, which is to me is like ministers don't run churches. No, that's not our job. Our job is to be those who are the presence of Jesus wherever I go. So for me, a big part of what I do is I just want to bring the presence of Jesus. Whether it's in school, whether it's sitting down next to a 7-year-old, listen to them read, or whether it's sitting with people doing crazy interviews, or whether it's sitting with people talking about weddings or about funerals, or sitting in my room by myself. It's all about bringing the presence of Jesus. So my life is geared and balanced between being private or being hidden and being public. And it's that sense of one feeds the other. If I sit in my room for too long, I go stir crazy because I need to get out and about. But if I'm out too much, then I get exhausted.
Yeah.
Because, it's
You can
just,
make them
as much as I love meeting people and bouncing around, there's always an emotional draw or a cost to it.
Yeah.
And it's great fun, but it really is, it's just draining.
Yeah, totally.
And so just a balance between the two is really, really important because both one feeds the other. And without that, you don't actually function very, very well. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So in a way, you live a double life.
I'm a schizophrenic in that sense. Careful now, must be careful with that phrase. Well, yeah. I have two heads. Yeah.
Now, before we do anything else, Andy, it would be rude of me not to offer you a drink. So, would you like any water?
Go on, yes, please. There we go.
Of course.
Got glasses.
No, I thought it was going to turn into wine there. I thought the boys of the Oaks are very clever.
No, not on the show.
Yeah. Without the alcohol, of course. It's just fruit juice. There we go. Yeah.
Speaking of,
Cheers.
would you prefer blackcurrant squash or is water
No, fine,
sufficient?
yeah.
Okay, no worries. Because I'm going to turn my water into wine.
Oh, come on.
There we go.
Beautiful. What's into wine?
All right, there we go. That's how we do it on the third degree. Now, let's go right back to the very beginning.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about Genesis. I mean
Okay.
your beginning.
My beginning.
How did you come to meet Jesus?
Okay, so I went to a big festival called Greenbelt. I was 17, and I went to Greenbelt. The very first time I've been, there were about 20,000 people there.
Oh.
And it's the same weekend, still is, as the Reading Arts Festival, Reading Music Festival. And when I asked my mum, can I go to Greenbelt? And she said, is this a music festival? I said, well, there will be music, there's lots of bands in the evening. And she imagined, so not quite the sex, drug and rock and roll routine, but that was probably mere enough in the head. But I went there to ask a girl out, but it never happened. So but what struck me is I went there, and it was just seeing 20,000 people just get on with each other.
Yeah.
And this was, at that time, it was based near Odell in Bedfordshire. We're in a farmer's big fields, really. And one of the things that struck me was seeing 20,000 people leave a field through a 5-bar gate. I was really, really struck just by how these 20,000 complete strangers were just happily chilled, making silly cow noises and all that sort of sheep noises, and it was just seeing 20,000 strangers get on with each other all weekend. There were 2 policemen on site because they had to be there who just drank tea all the time because there was no bother, no issues. And for me, it was just seeing the difference that Jesus made in ordinary people's lives. And there was lots of seminars which I went to quite happily because I found it fascinating what they're talking about. And it's just big marquees and small marquees. There's just people just gathering, listening, interacting with the people that happened there. The evening was from like 5 till midnight. There were bands every night, all the way through, and singers. He went from wearing very few layers to wearing about 8 as the temperature dropped in August bank holiday weekend. And what struck me, there was a session where it spoke about how for people who want to know more about Jesus. And so I thought, I'll go on to that. And when we got there, the bloke's PA failed. All that worked in the PA, it wasn't a big tip, all that worked in the PA was his foldback speaker.
Okay.
And what really, I thought, and look back, you go, I was really, really easily impressed. But this bloke was completely chilled about it. He says, if you want to get closer, it's fine. And he says, because everyone, you all sit back, of course. There's no chair, you sit on the floor. And he said, if you want to come closer, you're very welcome to. If not, you can go. So I thought, no, I went and he shared the faith. And off I said, I want to do this. And so I went back to Margate, said to my Baptist minister, and one of the only occasions, I said to him, I want to get baptised, please. And he was lost for words, which for a Baptist minister happens very rarely because we've got lots of words. But he was quite almost struck dumb, as it were, sort of thing. He did say yes. But that's how I came to know Jesus, because is seeing the difference Jesus makes in ordinary people's lives, in ordinary situations, and you go, I want to be like you, as the Jungle Book says.
Nice.
So how old were you when?
I was 17.
17.
Wow.
Incredible.
Great.
But I grew up in the Church of England. I sang in the church choir, and I joined Boys Brigade in the Baptist Church in Margate, mainly because of the hat.
What does Boys Brigade involve?
Oh, it's a uniformed organisation like Scouts. It's a precursor of Scouts. It's a lot more, I suppose, discipline than Scouts.
Like the military.
Yeah, a bit more, they used to do a lot of rifles, that sort of stuff, but then they were that was dropped by the way. But the most impressive bit was their hats. Their hats were like Thunderbird hats.
Oh, that's cool.
And I thought, I want to be a Thunderbird. You know, I was 11 and I want a hat like that. And I went from the junior section, then up to company section, secondary school section. And I never went to church. And they used to say to me, did you go to church? No, played football. And that was it. There was never any criticism, never any, no, you should go to church or that stuff. They just accepted for who I was.
Yeah.
I got to 16, and the club I was part of, they were only been going 5 years. There was no over 16 section.
Okay.
We were the only section was under 16s, 11 to 16s.
Yeah.
And then, so therefore you outgrew it. And it was like, what do I do on a Sunday? So I went to church and essentially messed around all the time.
We would.
But it was, of course, not that you would. And but my best mate was part of the church there. He was the son of the church secretary. And I used to go Sunday mornings. I'd skip Sunday evenings, go out running, but I'd go to the after church stuff with all the other youth and join in. Again, there was never any, why didn't you go to church sort of stuff? There's always very chilled and a sense of just welcoming me. But yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So I believe you're based at the Baptist church.
Baptist church, yeah.
So how did you end up at that church?
It's a long, tortuous system. I mean, so I've been. So I went to college in 1987, a place called Spurgeon's in London. And left college in 1991. Went to the First Church in North London, in Enfield. Was there for 7 years. Went down around the North Circular. Ended up at a place called Witton, which is near Twickenham. So Twickenham's rugby stadium is about half a mile from the house, and 70,000 people will be there. For right this last weekend, be there. Lots of fun games, and I was there for 15 years, and then thought, no, it's Tottenham. We thought, both myself and my wife Julie, we said, actually, because she's a country girl, I'm a seaside boy, and it was like, actually, we like London, but it's just too busy. Get to stage of life, you go, I like the noise, but not anymore.
Yeah.
So I very carefully told God that what happens is that there's a matchmaking system in those days where there's a list of ministers looking to move, list of churches looking for ministry, and those they're called regional ministers. They would just say, actually, this person would be a really good fit for that church. And so every month, every sort of 6 weeks, you get five churches, and you might get interviewed by them or might not, depending whether they rang you. But when Johnny rang me up, I burst out laughing. I thought, you've not read the memo. My memo says to God, nothing past Leicester. We're from Kent. This is where we're an hour north of Leicester. So I burst out laughing, and then they sent me the profile, and I thought, this ticks all my boxes in my head. Things actually I love to be able to do, and what they were wanting from their minister. I thought that it really, really works really well. And I was the first person that interviewed. And the one of the basic rules is never ever accept the first interviewee, because that you just set the benchmark.
Yeah.
And not that there's someone better, but just let's not rush it.
Yeah.
But they went no. Okay. So I kept saying to them, interview other people. No, we're fine. No, I insist. Interview other people. No, we're fine. So I came, and this was in 2012, and I arrived in 2013. And here we are. So and we will live here. We will retire here in Jonfield because we love living here. Love the place. It's very crazy. People are so friendly. They talk to you, which is peculiar for a southerner, especially from London as well. Many years. Although the part of London where I lived, the last 15 years, was a very chatty part of London. They would talk to you. Whereas here, I know the first morning here, when the postman talked to me, I almost fell over, sort of thing. That never happens in London, sort of stuff. But yeah.
Yeah. So as a minister at the Baptist church, what has your relationship been like with the Oaks over the years?
I was shocked, because the Oak style of church normally don't have anything to do with more they're called inherited or longer traditional or sort of styles of churches, because they have to say we're new church, nothing to do. And I've never ever met churches so like the Oaks who've gone, I want to get involved. And I found that a real joy to actually have the whole raft and range of all the church going, we're all together with this. And I've always loved getting on with churches. So like in Witham, there was only 5 churches, and we're very, very close. And in Enfield, there's a bigger group, but still quite close. So to come here with the big number of churches, but all equally committed to to getting on with each other,
Yes,
and actually being supportive, actually communicating with each other.
Yeah.
Shock horror! It was just, it was great, probably. Yeah,
Good.
I found it really, really, just novel sort of thing. But yeah, it's good.
Would you like any more water?
No, I'm fine now.
No, you've had enough. Okay, you'll be glad to know you've made it past round 1 of the interview. We're now on to round 2, which is called
4 favourites.
I don't know, yeah.
So this round is quite simple. 4 favourites. We're going to ask you to tell us about 4 of your favourite things. The first one being your favourite noise.
Ooh.
Well, guess what? Being a minister, you always have more options. So my favourite, I have 2 favourite noises. My favourite noise that one is we used to have a V-twin motorbike. It's like a cheap Harley. It's a Honda Shadow, which is a V-twin, and has a potato sound. And it's great, and I loved being on it. Sit on it, and it's all chrome and paintwork. It was such a laugh because it's such a great experience with the noise. It's the noise that made riding that motorbike lots and lots of fun. But within that, it'd be a Spitfire. Spitfires have a phenomenal sound. They are awesome. And but so oddly, for somebody I'm not a real petrol head, but those are 2 things. My favourite noise are things that are driven by petrol, which is quite strange. But hey ho, those things, I love those sounds. Yeah.
Great.
Okay, your second favourite. What is your favourite part of your job?
It's people. I don't know. Is it the private bit or the public bit? Actually, I love being around people. I found that such fun because people are so unpredictable. They're just boom, that's right, yeah. But how did that? Don't boo from down there. But it's because you'll never ever tap the very bottom of somebody, who they are as somebody. There's always something more. And as I discover that as people age, they become different people, but life's challenges change, and this sense of relearning, reevaluating. Just especially for Christians, who am I in Jesus? When actually you become not based by what you do, but actually by who you are as a person, and you discover that if you've poured too much into what you do. When you get to actually when you no longer can do, and you just who am I as a person, then there's a real, not identity crisis, but it's a real challenge.
Yeah.
Because we're so used to people liking us for what we do, not for who we are as a person. But who we are as a person, of course, is really, really important. And for me, that is the biggest part of it. So I love being around, as exhausting as you two are. It's great fun being around people because it's just always exciting, always. Unexpected. Tales of the unexpected is my life so often, but without the sexy music in the beginning as the intro.
Very good. All right, the next favourite. What is your favourite book in the Bible?
Okay, so today it's Ephesians because that's what we're looking at for the next couple of years. It's just soaking ourselves in the book of Ephesians, and so that will be the thing that I am focusing on in all of my preaching and teaching in church is the book of Ephesians, but also drawing in everything else. Is essentially looking at the Bible through the eyes of Ephesians. That's a way of phrasing it. Yeah.
Great. And okay, what is the final 4 favourites? What is your favourite place that you've ever been?
This is the hardest question, and it sounds very cheesy, but actually my favourite place is wherever I'm walking with Julie with a rucksack on. I really love doing long distance walking, and it's just being wherever we are. That becomes a favourite place, just because we are walking together with our rucksacks on our back. So in June we finish off the Walsingham pilgrimage, going from Bury St Edmunds up to Walsingham, and then in September we're walking along the Thames from Marlow probably to the mouth to Greenwich. But it's just walking with her is the thing that makes every place becomes a favourite place, just because it's the pleasure of the person I'm with. Then. So when Julie turned a big 0 date number, so for her age, our lovely daughter sent us to Brussels in Belgium, and we thought we hate cities. We love living in London, but and so we went to Brussels going, what do we do? And it was quite semi-bewilderment, but it was lots of fun because of the person who I was with. So all the exploring we did.
Yeah.
It was being with that person. We would never, because our daughter sent us to be like normal people, going to a city break, and we went, no, we're not normal. Just keep us out in the wild, so we're fine, thank you very much. But
yeah. I love that. That's a really good answer. And actually, being the first person on this, I think it's going to be hard to
hard to beat.
Best answer,
yeah. Can you beat that one? That's right. Yeah.
Okay. And that is round 2, 4 favourites completed. And now we're moving on to round 3, perhaps the scariest round of them all.
Yeah, most people actually drop out or drop dead.
Yes, after this round. And of course, people, that round is the breathometer.
My personal favourite round. Let me run you through it, Andy. So, essentially, I don't know if you're familiar with Top Gear, but during that show, of course, they have their guests do a lap of their famous circuit, and they create a leaderboard of all the guests they have on the show. And we wanted to do something similar. So the breathometer, basically, we're going to ask you to hold your breath as long as you can, and wherever you come, we're going to slap you on there and see how you compare with that other guest.
Yeah,
now you have the
scale,
luxury of being the first guest on the show, so whatever you get, it's going to be respectable. It's going to be number 1 essentially. But well, it'll be interesting to see later in the series how other people stack up. But
we've set the top time as 5 minutes, but if you get above 5 minutes, then we can obviously edit this.
That'll be the day.
That's the day. Yeah.
All right. So without further ado,
I shall set up a timer, Andy.
Yeah.
And please just pinch your nose. No cheating.
No cheating.
Oh no, would I cheat?
You are the Rev. You wouldn't cheat.
I am the Rev.
I'm the Rev. All right. When you're ready.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go. You'll be glad to know you've made it past the 30-second mark.
It's going to be tough to beat. It's starting to water.
He's doing well, actually. I'm really impressed. That's a minute. So we are here. It's doing really well. I'm so impressed. You're coming up at a minute and a half. Good luck too. Johnny, you seeing this?
I think I might have to do a few close-ups
Yeah.
and speed it up.
No. Don't
Speed it up. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Wow. 2 minutes? It's insane.
We weren't anticipating this.
No.
Oh, there it is!
2 minutes and 10 seconds.
Look at that. That is a fantastic time for our first ever guest.
That's incredible. We'll add you on the leaderboard.
Andy, that's insane.
I did 150 out of those practicing.
You really did?
Yeah.
Oh, that's insane. Get him on there.
The thing is, though,
Straight away?
is that I used to play a lot of brass instruments, so
Right.
I got a big lung capacity from a kid. So yeah. So I've been playing tuba, that sort of stuff. So
Absolutely.
I've got big lungs.
2 minutes, 10.
There you go. Well, thanks for doing that. I'm genuinely really
yeah.
impressed.
I was thinking of how long do you think this is going to go on for?
I was,
yeah.
If you asked me before my estimate, I would have guessed maybe 30 seconds, something like that.
2 minutes, 10 seconds, 78 milliseconds by Andy
Yeah.
G.
And there we
Andy
go.
G.
That's round 3 complete.
You're doing well. You're doing very well.
Now, round 4,
Yeah.
like Mastermind, is your specialist subject. Now, as we've established, you are the Reverend. So we've got a series of questions about what that entails, what that involves.
Yes. Question 1. What is a Baptist and how do they differ from other Christians?
Okay, so Baptist churches, I mean, the thing that we believe is that everyone believes them, but things that there are, it's like a pack of cards. Like what you hold in your hand is slightly different variety. So so we believe that like Jesus is Lord. Everyone believes it. The centrality of Scripture. Thank you very much. We believe in the priesthood of believers. So in a Baptist church, everyone is equal. I'm no different. I'm just like everybody else. I just have just a different role.
Yeah.
We believe in what else do we just believe in? You believe in the freedom of conscience. Actually, people in that sense of because the reason and it's quite self-serving because early Baptists tend to get either imprisoned or executed for what they believed. And so they wanted freedom of conscience to have the freedom to believe this rather than being thrown in prison or often they were drowned in rivers. They were sort of just held down more than 2 minutes 10. So they were drowned. That's right, yes, and principal believers. But yeah, they're both the main things. So that we're a sense in which we're a flat organisation, so everyone has an equal sense of value. Oh yeah, of course. Baptism, believers' baptism.
Of course.
Forget that. There we go. Yeah, that's
Classic.
So, and it technically is by immersion. I think sprinkling or immersing. They're just different modes. But so I used to get a laugh with Peter Bold, who was the vicar director at St John's. I said, John. I said, Peter, we don't believe much. We only believe 3 things. Centrality of Scripture, baptism by immersion, and priesthood believers. And that's it. Well, Jesus Lord. That's it. Don't believe much. Because actually it is upon each individual church has that, again, it's rooted in a freedom of conscience to explore scripts themselves rather than being dictated to by. So we are a non-creedal, a non-confessional church. We don't have a statement of belief. Don't do that sort of stuff.
No.
That's not important because it is rooted in each Christian, each church having the freedom to discern themselves the mind of Christ.
There we go.
Interesting.
Well executed. Filled it up thinking, how's he going to tackle this?
Please take a sip.
Got a straw, that's right.
Yeah, I'm just going to jump on what you said. You mentioned Peter Ball. Now, obviously, he has now left Johnfield.
Yeah.
What was that like working with him?
Didn't edit that one out. So as with all the revs, lots of fun. I mean, so when I came to Johnfield, you have what's called the interrogation tea. The interrogation tea is when you have tea, but then all the church gather and they ask you any question they like. And normally it's just people from the church. When I got there, not only were there people from the church, but there's people in dog collars. Okay. What are you doing here? Because the practice in Johnfield is that in the appointment of church leaders is that actually we want to be involved ourselves. So I've participated in the appointment of other church leaders because that's how we do things in Johnfield because it's that sense of working together. So I got really well with Peter. Good. And was a good friend.
Okay, now Andy, could you tell us the most amazing thing that you have experienced from being a reverend?
There are lots of things. I love it when I baptise people, when people press faith and they go so go through the whole. So we speak about in baptism there's an encounter, it's sacramental, in the sense of the meeting with Jesus. And for me, that's really important. That sense of people being baptised. And oddly, I love funerals. I grew up playing around. My family are funeral directors. So I've worked both sides of the coffin. I used to be a hearse driver. And I love a good funeral. I think it's great fun, and which is rather odd. I love funerals, but I find weddings the most stressful thing because I say to people, if I get a funeral wrong, the person's still dead. If I get the wedding wrong, they're not married. That's true. All this. Sorry, you're not married. My apologies, Rudy.
Wow.
So I find that because it's a legal ceremony sort of thing. So I love funerals. I very much sort of relax around funerals, weddings. Because I do a lot less of them. So therefore, it's what do I do here? What's the routine here? Because essentially, do one a year, so you forget what you're meant to do, all that sort of thing.
Yeah, I understand.
How often would you say you do a wedding as to a funeral?
Sorry?
Like how,
Go do it again.
so how often do you do weddings?
But one a year.
One a year. And what about funerals?
But one a month.
Right, wow. So
Yeah.
a lot more
Roughly, yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, I would say it's when I am sharing Jesus with people, either like in a much more upfront statement or just having a conversation. So like there was, so I did a huge funeral in December. I won't do all the details, but it's a privilege to be in where people are in a point of profound need, and
Yeah.
you're there as not merely someone who they know he's such a nice man routine, but actually someone where I am
You're a
the person
beacon.
of Jesus with them,
Yeah.
and in a situation where they haven't got a clue what to do, because they're just overwhelmed by a sense of loss and of grief, and you're there holding their hand, helping them navigate, and not only for a service, but actually before and afterwards. Now, and you
Yeah.
continue to be good friends with them, and just helping them progress and journey through.
So it sounds like you've been part of a lot of legal ceremonies in your time. Have you ever been part of any illegal ceremonies?
You thinking?
I am, because not illegal. No, not
No,
illegal.
nothing you're willing to share with us anymore. Alright, that's fine.
I've never ever been pulled over by the police for speeding because I get to get somewhere. I've got friends who have done, and they get been doing like 15 and 30 because they need to get someone's house
Yeah.
or whatever, and they get stopped by the police and they wind the window down to hold, and the person sees their dog collar. I mean, I've been in hospitals in where it's not illegal, but you're not meant to be there. So like in protected times where we're visiting outside of visiting hours, and I rocked up and I've been chatting to somebody, and I was completely torn off a strip by the sister, who were giving a right rollicking for interrupting.
Really?
And I was wearing when I was on a motorbike, I was wearing my leathers, had my helmet in my hand, and she's going on and on, and you could see her eyes moving from my face to my dog collar.
She was a professional.
And you can see the cogs in her head as she's going, he's a vicar. And because she was going on and on about, this is not allowed to be here. And then it's eventually her understanding caught up with her mouth, and she stopped. And she said, "I'm so sorry," because I have a right to be there because I've got the collar. And I said, "Look, I'll be literally 2 minutes because I'm going on holiday. Jerry's having surgery tomorrow. I just want to say, I just want to pray with him."
Yeah.
And no, stay up. I'm just like, no, I won't, because this is protected time. I'm not meant to be here. But I will go. But it was just great seeing her face, seeing her eyes go up and down from the dog collar to my and then this understanding, dawning realization, because she was rightly cross with me for being there, because I was dressed in leathers, and not because again in hospitals I get a great double take of the leathers and the dog collar, because they go, they don't associate one with the other.
No.
But so that's nearest illegal was not illegal, but I shouldn't have been there.
Sure.
Even though I had every right to be there.
Great.
Okay, we now have an actual surprise round.
Surprise round.
Yes, you have not been asked about this before. This is the world famous clothes round, where you tell us where you got your clothes from.
Oh wow! So this is a Debenhams jacket. My Marks and Spencer's shirt. These are my jeans. My Wrangler jeans,
Nice.
and of course, and there we go, and my famous Dr. Martens.
Famous.
My notorious Dr.
I love
Martens.
those.
These are my Georgian Dragon shoes.
Yeah.
So these are my Georgian Dragon shoes. Best shoes for wearing for a funeral. As I've worn versus brown trousers at funerals, and people are going to say, "Thank you at the funeral, like your shoes." About a number of times.
There you
Yeah.
That's all you need. Now, before we go on to the next, and if I'm not mistaken, final round.
Wow, you're doing well.
We want to present you with a gift as a thanks for coming on the show. So if you mind your knees, I wouldn't want to hurt you.
Oh wow.
I've got a special.
If you
flask.
just put that out onto the table so everyone can see at home.
Let me help you.
Pull the back. There we go.
So yeah, we spoke to your family and asked what your favourite treats were, and yeah.
So help yourself. And
Wow. Prawn crackers. Love prawn crackers.
Good stuff.
which I'll open this.
We've got a split pot yogurt.
So which spoon?
Which spoon? Well, it should please my mother, you see. So it's a bit of a dessert spoon. It's a serving spoon for a yogurt with a slight prawn cracker taste in the mouth. It is a quite a mix. It really is.
Good.
Go ahead.
I will.
Scale of 1 to 10. How good is it?
Oh, this is cracking. I love it a bit.
Good.
9. Go 9. There we go.
We've done well, we've done well.
Good.
Can't get 10.
Wow.
Good.
I mean, it is his favourite
No,
drink.
perfect.
I do love prawn crackers though.
There we go.
It is a wrestling match with my
Result.
grandchildren because they also love prawn crackers too.
Oh, fair enough. We're going to move this table out.
Not so much leg room.
Okay. You are doing really well, Andy. Really well. Furthest that anyone's ever made it through. Considering this is episode 1. But we now are on to round 5. The famous slump or dump.
The rules are simple. We present you now with the famous Slump McDumpmobile. Put it next to Andy in case he wants any more. Thanks. The Slump McDumpmobile. Now, it's very simple. We are going to present to you 5 key statements to which you can either slump, agree, or dump, disagree. If you want to go halfway,
50-50.
maybe towards this direction, that's absolutely fine. It's to your discretion how you want to treat the system. Now, I think that explains it pretty well.
Is that a good angle, John? Yeah. Yeah.
Great, cool. So, without further ado, let's commence slump or dump.
Okay, here we go. Question 1. I believe that pineapple belongs on pizza. Slump or dump?
I love pineapple on pizza.
Slump, fair
There
enough.
we go.
Agreed.
Hawaii
Big
man
fan.
through and through.
Big fan. I mean, it goes with the Hawaiian shirt as well, of course.
Absolutely.
And would you place anything above that? Is there a piece of topping you prefer?
No. Hawaiians for me.
Fair enough, we've done well there.
Hawaiian is
Very
top
good.
dog.
Very
Top
good.
dog.
But
Okay.
my house never happens.
No.
Really?
But I think it's a dump. Yes,
Oh.
aberration.
Fair
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Next statement now. I believe time travel is the best superpower.
Fading up there. We go.
Dump.
Picked up.
Dump.
There we go. Yeah.
What's your preferred?
My preferred superpower. That wasn't one of the questions, boys.
Would you like to surprise our guests?
You see, I'm a great fan of. I love Batman, the gravelly voice.
Batman.
Because he has no superpowers apart from his phenomenal wealth.
Yes.
But yeah, so yes. But
This day and age, money is a
but money is
superpower.
wealth. He has a great sense of justice. There. you go.
Yes.
A passion for justice. So that's a superpower.
So could you tell us about why you wouldn't pick time travel?
Just wouldn't. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. It's just
Too
no.
stressful,
It's not something I wouldn't do. No. Yeah.
No,
fair
Not
enough.
my cup of tea.
Suppose you were a changed man and you did.
Yeah.
What time period would you travel to? Future or past?
Future or past? Well, it would be somewhere into the future then. Yeah, because could I be without a sort of sense of the past is all the things we take for granted are gone. There's things like
That's true.
flushing toilets, with things like convenience, not
That's
food,
true.
convenience of a warm house, of clean air, breathable air, of actually a lot less intense manual labour, could be a shorter lifespan. I'd be somewhere maybe in the future, but who knows where.
Are you optimistic about the future?
Deep.
I would say I'm neither one or the other. There we
So
go,
it's
yeah.
kind of
I'll
here.
be in the middle, yeah.
Alright.
yeah.
Old slump.
I think about my grandchildren. I'd be nearer there for my grandchildren.
Okay.
What sort of world will they grow up in? You know,
Yeah, that's interesting.
30, 40, 50 years time, you know. And they get to my great dotage, what will life be like then? Yeah.
Deep. Great. The third slump or dump question. I prefer the New Testament to the Old Testament.
I'm going to be naughty. See, I've put them both together in the sense that the old and new, you can't prefer one to the other.
Wow.
There we go. So I would say, not the right question for a slump
Fair
sort of
enough.
routine. Yeah. Because if you put in the middle, you go, because both are important.
Absolutely,
Both are
yes.
important, yeah.
Yeah.
But I know why you're asked it.
For
Because
that.
it is about, because we live now, as Christians, we live with the Old New Testament far more familiar in our heads than the Old. I mean, the Old is,
Yeah.
for a lot of people, a fairly unread book.
Mm.
They might read their Gospels, letters, but also people like me preach. We tend to preach a lot more from the New than
Yeah.
the Old. But
They're both equally important.
they're both equal. Someone I was when in the interrogation tea I had when coming to John Field was one of the questions I was asked was favourite book of the Bible. I said, well, I've got 4, which is cheating because I said it's gospel.
Yeah.
But then again, but then Jesus, of course, he lived with Deuteronomy, Isaiah, and Daniel were his favourite books because of all the things he taught. You can pick up that language all the way around. So both really important. I think
Great.
immersing both is really key.
Awesome.
So there
You
we go.
broke the scale.
I broke the toy boy. There you go.
Okay.
There we are.
Next one. Broke the toy.
And shocker.
Okay. The next slump or dump statement. Winter is my favourite season.
Oh, that's a tricky one, isn't it? Yeah. It's that I love all the seasons. Each season's different.
That's
And
true.
I like that. I like because I'm cheating by not actually answering the question. But I'm a
It's
minister.
all
We
good.
rarely
It's a
answer
skill.
full questions.
It's a
Yeah.
spectrum.
I love snow. I love seeing my grandchildren playing in snow. But I'm a seaside boy, so therefore actually I love summer.
Oh.
Yes. Because it's like I'm a seaside boy. Love the tan, just by being in the sunshine.
Yeah, seaside.
And I always walk on the sunny side of the street because I just love I love being in sunshine.
Yes.
But I'm not a fan of too much heat.
No.
Which is why I'm British. We have sunshine, but
Without
not
the heat.
Yeah.
or even the sunshine.
I think winter is good when there's snow, but without it, it's just kind of just.
It's
Just
grey,
cold and
grey and
rainy.
miserable. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I love
Yeah.
snow as well.
Yeah.
Okay then. Wow. Andy, you've done it. You are the final question of the 3rd degree with Josh and Joe. And that question is, I have enjoyed my time here today.
Absolutely fun. Such a laugh. There we go. Stick it over there, boys.
Yes!
There we go.
Yes!
A result for the boys.
Thank
There we
you.
go. Yeah.
See that, folks?
Lots of
Our
fun.
first guest loves the show.
And if you look to your right, you'll
Yeah.
see the monkey mask. And that's what we get our guests to put on if they want to at the end of the show.
Oh.
There we are.
Yes! Absolutely.
We did it.
Wow.
Did it.
Thank you very much for
My
coming on the
pleasure,
show,
mate.
Thank
Andy.
you,
We
Andy.
really
Gents.
appreciate it.
We will add you to the Hall of Fame
We
at the end of
will.
this episode.
There we
But
go.
before you go, the box.
The box.
Now, a lot of work goes into this show. Nothing's free. So if you'd like to leave us a tip for our services.
The tip is, I should have had the blackcurrant in first, and then the water.
Oh!
See, that's the big tip. But also there's a financial tip. There we go. That'd be fun for them, boys. There we are.
Thanks.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
yeah.
much.
Generous,
Andy
man.
Gore.
Yeah.
It's been amazing having you on the show. We've learned so much.
It's my pleasure, boys.
And if you would just like to leave through these double doors,
Oh,
I'm going to wave you off.
The great send off.
Yes.
Yes. Farewell, Andy.
Farewell.
Thanks for coming.
It's been my pleasure, boys.
Bye.
Cheers.
Life changing. Absolutely life changing.
You can see why it's a reverend.
Hot.